What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Griever back here, bringing all of you, as you no doubt know from the thumbnail, from the title, from everything else, the third and final part of the Record of Ragnarok, also known as Shuumatsu no Valkyrie discussion. The third fight, and I'm not going to tell you the combatants quite yet because, in all honesty, this is not the way I wanted these to go. I wanted to have a full discussion. It ended up being a read-through only because I felt that I was going to miss facts. Because it's almost like their own mini arcs. This is not like a weekly manga chapter base. It's not like a different arc thing. Like, these aren't separate fights within small arcs or big arcs or anything. This is the whole series, and it's very easy to miss stuff, and I just didn't want to miss a single goddamn thing. So when I was doing these videos, when I called it a discussion, I thought I would just sit back and talk about it and like quickly skip through, but every single panel caught me. Every page caught me to be like, gotta talk about this, gotta talk about that, gotta talk about that. So it became more of a discussion slash read-through of each fight. That's what this series became. I'm a little upset by it that I didn't realize that that is what it was going to become. That's what it was going to evolve into easily. I'm upset at myself for that, but I'm not upset with the way the videos necessarily turned out. I just would have structured them better, in my opinion, and different, knowing, like, going into it as a read-through. That's all. So, but there's no more shades, there's no more blind spots, there's none of that stuff here for this part. I got my beer, a full, beautiful glass of beer. And just in case, I got my blade. I don't think we'll need it. I'm not one of those guys. I don't get that whole "let me get my blade" thing. I've seen quite a number of YouTubers over the last like 5 to 10 years, honestly, do the whole "let me get my blade." Was that a meme from something? I don't know. Anyways, let's just jump in because where did we leave off? I left you guys hanging a little bit because I kept reading through the chapters and I went a little too far. But here we are, the contender for humanity against the Zeus of the seas, who is Poseidon. The next combatant for the gods is Poseidon, king of the seas. And honestly, in every iteration, other than this one, I root for this guy. I think Poseidon is A-class, S-class. He is one of the top tier. He's a badass. He's got a beard. He's got a trident. Sometimes he's a mermaid. Sometimes he's not. Sometimes he looks like a kraken. Sometimes he's just a typhoon of destruction. The last one is accurate. He is a typhoon of destruction, but he's a condescending, rich boy, frat boy. I'm so good looking. I'm too good looking. Bow down before me while I wear female lipstick. Like, looking down on real men. I don't. Oh my God. I probably just said something really controversial there. But I do not care. I hate when the rich, pretty boy, like literally the dude who looks like a Green Day reject, looks down on dudes who work in the trades or some shit like they're less. It's like, you don't understand that guy can kill you, right? Like, so this is the, like, Poseidon emanates that rich boy personality, but not like a suave rich boy, not like the guy like, yeah, I also run and box and I do mixed martial arts because I can afford a UFC fighter to train me. I'm also a badass along with a suit and $1 million salary. No, I'm talking about the guy who sits on his ass, plays video games, doesn't get doesn't get subscribers on YouTube, even though he plays Fortnite religiously, but has a shit ton of money, a bunch of girls that his dad pays for, and wrecks a bunch of cars, has a bunch of money, throws it around, dresses like a tool, and still thinks he's top shit. That is the epitome of Poseidon here. except Poseidon can back it up. The problem is that he's that personality with that. Like, it's the worst combination. You just want to choke him. Like, he is the worst of every character I've seen so far in this series. Like, every character had some type of redeeming quality or some level of respect that was owed. Poseidon does not. So let's just get into this, because when I left you guys, I told you that humanity had to, I said, we have palm down, don't know who it is going to go up against the Zeus of the seas, and it's Kojiro Sasaki. And who is Kojiro Sasaki? Well, he's a samurai, and he cannot lie. He's the samurai. And we see him in some prime youthful state, but we see the one who selected it. So this implies that all of the 13 combatants are alive and well and sitting back in like a waiting room, like in the gladiatorial arena. They're just sitting back kind of waiting, because Sasaki overhears this. Sasaki overhears them mulling over who can take on Poseidon, and he just walks up like, me, click. You know, and they didn't even know, and they're like, what's going on here? And we see him, but he looks like an old man. He looks like a geezer at this point. And then we see him, and everyone's like, what's going on? You're completely different from the record. And once again, this will be a read-through. I've acknowledged that. We're going to move on. But you're more mature. To be blunt, you're an old dude. He looks on. The soul summoned here should have do nothing with the participant's state at death. I thought combatants took the form of their peak, their golden age, because we see a reference to Lubu and Adam. Of course, Adam would be, if he was, like, if he's in heaven, if he's alive, even as a human, he would be, well, thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, but he looked like a young, like, almost like a boy. Lubu also looked like a man in his 30s, 40s, right? Why does Kojiro Sasaki look like he's, you know, in his late 70s, to be honest, or his late 60s, that nonetheless? I mean, it's hard to tell with the art style sometimes, but maybe, you know, it's one of those things. So they're all looking at him, and they're like, why would you take this old guy's form? All of a sudden, they're getting antsy at him, and a water jug spills. Sasaki just grabs his sword casually. The water is spilling. He hooks the water jug and doesn't miss a drop of water and hangs it back up. He's like, that was close. And everyone's just like, what? And then he starts drinking, and apparently it's cow's milk. And he starts eating, and he's like, that was a feast. And everyone's looking at him, and Brunhild is realizing that this dude is the real deal. And this, as he points out, he goes, it's been 400 years since I ascended, and yet I continuously, endlessly pursue the way of the blade. My evolution is far from over. This, unlike those guys, this is my golden age. So he continued after death to achieve a better form. Most of the characters we've seen up to this point, or like, it seems like this series has gone a long time, but only two. The two combatants we've seen at this point, we just see them in their peak, in their golden era, in when they were relevant. Kojiro, after like fading away from history and stuff, he continued to get better. He's no longer who he was back then. He's actually better than ever, sort of mentality. And I really like that. So we continue on here, right? We're on to the next part. They start, so we got this ocean level, like we see the arena. The arena looks like a gladiatorial arena once again. This is one hell of a renovation. It's basically one, it reminds me of the Majora's Mask boss fight. You know, you have the one little platform in the center, and the rest is surrounded by water. It's salty, it's apparently seawater, and it's raining in from, it seems only one direction there. We have the two gates, and a third one up there in the Parthenon, and it's just draining down, seawater constantly draining down inside of the arena. So, after this, we see, of course, the announcement that who's going to come out but Poseidon himself. If Zeus is the god of the cosmos, or in retrospect he's supposed to be the god of the sky or the heavens, whatever, then this man rules all the oceans with the iron fist, rules of the sea. We see the trident, even the gods tremble. The most fearsome god, second of the three brothers of Olympus, known to man as Zeus. You're kidding me. His name is Poseidon. Once again, he believes everybody's filth. He looks like that, like, punk rocker pretty boy who can't, you know. Oh man, even his appearance is meant to piss me off. Odin even looks on and is like, huh. He's even less receptive to my jokes than you, old man. Loki talking to Odin. Poseidon's just a, you know, we have not seen Hades yet. You know, there were three brothers, right? You have Zeus, you have Poseidon, and you have Hades. We have yet to see Hades, and Hades is actually not on the list of combatants, but I believe that Hades will be relevant in this series. Mark my words. So there we go. And now, in all of human history, who is humanity's strongest swordsman? And we list a bunch of swordsmen. We list the silent samurai at the Edo period. And we have the founder of the Shinkai-Raji Ryu school and the sword saint of the Sengoku period. We have, you know, Yoshimitsu. We have all these different characters. And then we have, or people of history, honestly. We have all the men. We have, I believe they, do they mention the Batosai? There is the Batosai in here, the one that is referenced to be one of the four manslayers, the Hattori or whatever, that Rurouni Kenshin was based off of. I don't believe they were mentioned there, honestly. I thought they were. Either way, basically, Sasaki shows up and he continues to pursue the way to true mastery. And it's humanity's greatest loser. Even though you would think he was the greatest swordsman, he is the greatest loser. And he is Sasaki Kojiro. And of course the art is just fantastic here. Like the whole art throughout the whole thing, right? So humanity's kind of like, why do they get the old guy up next? We see some young kids saying, this is unacceptable. I will never accept this decision. Miyamoto Iori, son of Miyamoto Mushai. He lost to father. How is he representing all mankind? Father should be the one to right to represent humanity. It's clearly written with these texts of the 5 rings. And his military brothers, masters, am I wrong? Your dad beat me too. And we have Seijiro Yoshihiko, the sword instructor of the shogunate of Ashikaga. Like, I'm going to be very bad at pronouncing this, guys, but these are, of course, very historical samurai and figures of the shogun and different Edo, different periods in all of Japan. We have Hosane Inshun, the practitioner of the Hosein spear style. And then we have, of course, Miyamoto himself, Nito Ichi Ryu style, you know, who was, of course, Nichi Ichi Ryu is the 2-sword style, right? It's dual sword, it's dual wielding, pretty much, right? And we see him with a double cross scar, looks like a goddamn badass. I always pictured him to be the less brute. When you read the text about Kojiro versus Miyamoto, you always read about, like, the way it's depicted is that Miyamoto's more of a trickster, more of a slender, cunning sort of guy. And you have Sasaki being more of the brutish, more like muscles and not necessarily like a large giant man, but like, you know, being more of the brute, being more of the honorable samurai who follows traditional ways. In this way, you have it different, and it's different in a good way. I like this depiction, I really do. So we see him. He doesn't actually say anything. So then we see in that man. So then we finally see Kojiro draw his single blade. It looks very long, actually, like an extra long katana, similar to someone like Sephiroth or something. Like I forget what that blade type is called. Begins with an M, I believe. But either way, so he's ready, and we have a double parade spread. And then we have Miyamoto looking on. His eyes finally opened. And all the masters that were talking shit, all of a sudden he drew his blade, and everyone's like, wait, what? What's going on? Even the gods, Ares, Loki. It's like, wait, what? The waves stopped. So all of a sudden, there was these waves. And I never noticed this before. And once again, I missed it here as well. Waves were going on in the platform. In the arena, there were waves. He drew his sword and still water. He stopped the waves. And everyone was like, wait, what? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, the young son of Miyamoto is talking, once again, trash. And Miyamoto cuts up all the scrolls that talk falsehoods. Father, why did you destroy the text? They are no longer needed. All the masters look on, and Miyamoto is weeping, going, that is the form of enlightenment. He is without rival, even though he is the one who actually killed him. He is the one who defeated this man in life. He's like, this man achieved enlightenment. This man has gone beyond any sword skill. It's like, we got the hype with him drawing his sword. The man who killed him in life didn't even need to see him swing it to acknowledge this dude. Like, it's basically like Zoro looking up to Mihawk sort of idea. He's just like sitting back going, God damn, that is the guy. That's the guy. But imagine it even worse. Imagine, like, there is no comparison to this. You just have to accept it. This is the greatest, one of the greatest swordsmen of all time, undisputed, who killed this guy. And he is just like, without even swinging his sword, he's looking on as a spectator going, this dude is beyond anyone. Like, that is amazing. He's unparalleled beneath the heavens. Man, like, if Adam wasn't my favorite character, if Adam didn't sell me on his badassery, Kojiro Sasaki, probably right up there with Adam. I'm not sure who's my favorite. One of those two. I wanted to say that last video. My two favorite characters are both on the human side, actually. We have Adam and we have Kojiro. So, they're about to start, right? They fight. We're on to chapter 14. So we're into 2 or 3 chapters now, right? So neither one of them has moved an inch. They've already started. But what we see here is they're basically doing a... we've seen this in manga and anime before. It's basically one of those, they're watching each other and they're actually doing everything in their mind. A Sherlock Holmes in the Robert Downey Jr. film, where they're all already, like, they've already anticipated and they've seen everything that's going to go on. Like the whole, also done in the Twilight books, I believe it's Edward versus Alice, you know, someone who can read minds, but someone who can see the future. They just basically sit there at a chessboard, and all of a sudden, I lost, and they never move a piece, right? But they sit there and stare at each other for a while. Similar idea. They're constantly attacking, countering in their mind. They're not actually making any move because they realize what the end result will be. So they're that level. It's been done in other animes and mangas that I can't think of before, but it's really, really cool. So finally, we see Sasaki attack. He draws, he doesn't hit Poseidon, and boom! His guts. And then we go back. So that's basically what happened. But Sasaki especially is sweating there. Because this is taking an extreme amount of mental fortitude to constantly play out this battle in their mind, move for move, muscle for muscle, and knowing exactly what the other person will do and anticipate the other person. They're being exhausted at a distance, so Sasaki is dripping in sweat, but he's using his head. He's constantly looking at Sasakio Kojiro has already died 18 times in this fight. His head chopped off, stabbed, cut to pieces, cut down in half. 18 times. He's already died. And Sasaki Kojiro continues to look. They haven't even moved yet. But he's like, no matter what, I'm bound to die, right? So they talk about Poseidon, saying his title is the most fearsome of the 12 gods of Olympus. Is for show the 12 gods. It's good to tell you. There was originally 13 in number. This is made up for the Valkyrie series, I believe. I tried to do a quick Google search about this, and all I could find was Record of Ragnarok about it. So I'm inclined to believe that this is either taken from another mythology or a very well backwards, back down, like very, very like bottom of the barrel text that's kind of taken as gospel here. But there was never 13 gods. There was always 12. Because here we see there were 13 gods of Olympus, but one was killed by Poseidon himself. The fourth member, the god's name was Adamus, which is also the name of Zeus's, like, you know, diamond form, right? He was one of the gods to inherit the blood of the almighty Kronos, the older brother of Zeus and Poseidon. There was never any such god, as far as I'm aware, so we see him here. He looks like a bug. He looks like a goddamn bug, and he's sitting in a Queen of Hearts looking like... He looks like an Alice in Wonderland villain, if you want to be honest with you. Like, if you were to, like, twist Alice in Wonderland into that, like, Alice Madness of Darkness or whatever. What was that game called? Alice in Madness or whatever? It was an amazing PlayStation game. I know it was on the PC as well. Crazy good game, and good depiction of the whole Alice in Wonderland trope. But he's youngest, someone accepts this. What are they thinking? So we have this bug version called Adamus, one of the 13 gods of Olympus. Apparently it goes Kronos and of course the mother Rhea, and we know they were killed. But then we have the first son was Hades, second son was Adamus, third son Poseidon, youngest son Zeus ascended to the throne. That's not exactly how it worked. In Greek mythology, what happened in the end is that they ate them, and Zeus was the one to kind of punch them out, so he took the sky. Hades was kind of, sort of, like, shat on a little bit. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to get into it, but right now, suffice to say, in this universe, there was 4. In true Greek mythology, there was none, as far as I'm aware. Correct me in the comment section down below if I am incorrect in saying this, but either way, he took command. And basically, Adamus didn't like this. He tried to take Poseidon's side. Like, he tried to get Poseidon on his side. And he's like, Poseidon basically insulted him. And he was going to fight him. And then Poseidon killed him. That's pretty much what happens here. I'm just going through here. Apparently, we see kind of cute, I guess, Poseidon as a baby, and you know, like, he's not even cute as a baby. Actually, Adamus is more cute as a little kid growing up than Poseidon is cute as a baby. Doesn't look anybody in the eye, and he screams, "Look at me!" and then he kills him, and so there's only 12 gods of Olympus. And Hermes, of course, was watching the whole time. Poseidon noticed him. Once again, I believe Hermes is sort of the Kisuke Urahara or the Aizen, depending on which way he tends to swing. He'll either be the Kisuke Urahara if he tries to save humanity, or he'll be the Aizen if he tries to secure the way of the gods. So I've always seen Hermes as that character in this interpretation. It's really, really cool. Suffice to say, so there were only 12 after that. According to Ares, Adamus was no pushover for him to take him down in one strike. That was really scary, and it's even more terrifying. And then we see, you know, Sasaki and, you know, Poseidon. They haven't really even fought yet. That's the crazy thing. They haven't actually even fought yet. Man, like, this video is gonna last a really long time if I keep going on about that. So Sasaki can't even think of what to do, so he sits down. Everyone's like, "What?" And it seems like Sasaki has given up. He sits down, cross-legged, and is like, "I don't feel like dying today." And this is where, once again, like, this video is going to be an hour. Oh my god. I know we're already like 20, 30 minutes in. Man, sometimes I feel like I should have done these as live streams. As just read-throughs. And I'm also kind of stuffed up. So he's never won a single match. Here's where we get the backstory of Sakio Kojiro. Basically, what he would do is he would constantly fight against people way stronger than him, and then he would give up after he would lose. That is... Let's talk about this logically. Basically, he would go up to every single person. He would fight them and fight them and fight them until he was good enough to beat them, and then he would be like, you know what, I've had enough. And instead of dying, he would just take what he's learned and move on to the next challenge, to the next dojo. So here it's even shown like in the first thing. Kojiro possesses no talent for the blade. There's no point in staying him here. And then we see the founder of the Todo style, the first one, master of the Kodachi. Kojiro, why admit defeat so quickly? Said, well, even if I were to fight against him 100 times, I would not prevail. He had the foresight to realize that no matter what I do in my current state, I can't beat this guy right now. And so if I were to injure myself fighting right now, it would damage my future prospects. This is actually the most logical response. It's not really the way of the warrior, the way of the samurai that they're used to, but basically he's like, okay, right now, I'm fighting against all these guys. I can beat these guys. But this guy right in front of me, if I were to fight him, I've fought him for a few strikes. I already recognize his strength. I realize I will not be able to defeat him. No matter if I tried for the next week, if I fought him for 24 hours straight right now, I will not land a blow. I will not land a killing blow. I will not win. Because in my current state, I can't beat him and his style and his strength. So it's like, why would I, like, recuperate for 6 months after taking a beating when I could just train more and try again later? You know? That's his, that's his thing. And everyone thinks they're not praising him. And then he says, I'm ashamed to admit it. So basically, one of the swordsman's true nature. Now then, just now do I win this one? And he constantly looked into his mind. And he constantly replayed the fights and how he was going to win. And then he would train and train. And he would look at, like, the rabbits and the creatures of the forest. Like, this is how, like, if I learn how to catch a rabbit, then I can, some Rocky Balboa level training. Like, catch the chicken to gain speed. This will be my training. Catch the frog, catch the bird, catch the snake. Beasts that exhibit the flow of battle. So then eventually he would come back. And he was like, all right, I'm tank as hell now. And he's like a different person. He's like, how about having a bout with me? And then basically Kojiro was the one who came back after a year and was able to totally floor him in one strike. And it's like, oh, wow. So then he fights against the master. The master defeats him. And then he's like, okay, well, now I have to fight against this master. Then he fights against another master and another master. And he constantly goes about and does this. He constantly goes to each master and he's fighting against each different master of each dojo, losing consecutively and never taking a win. Never taking the dojo title, never taking the win away from the master, never taking the honor of, okay, I'm going to take your dojo's banner. I'm not a dojo killer, I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to take your wall mount or anything like that. I'm not going to take on the hierarchy or the hierarchy of your swordsmanship style. I'm just going to incorporate it into my own and move on to the next one. And he constantly is like, so he furthered his own strength, and we see his dojo, his little hut, is ruined with all the different masters that he's fought against. And he realizes, you've surpassed me too. And he's just like, okay. So he realized when he surpassed him, for the time being, I'm just going to go journeying, losing every day, losing all the way. So he had a losing streak against everybody. And we see this. He fought against the founder of the Ito style. He lost against the founder of the Fari no Mutakasu style. He lost against, and just constantly getting stronger. The Sword Saint. He fought against the Sword Saint, and he totally lost and never stood a chance. And he never was deterred by this. He constantly fought and fought and fought. He is, as this chapter's title is, history's greatest loser. So then we jump back to the present. And he's just sitting down and I'm like, I ain't interested in dying today, but I guess surrendering won't work this time, right? So, stands up and says, please do me the honor of seeing your technique. I'm like, alright, this dude's got balls. This dude's got some goddamn gonads on him. So, what happens? He can't run away. 2 hands. We see all the masters he's fighting against. All the number. Like, this dude has fought and lost, but learned and defeated in his mind so many masters. To those that paved the way for me, my kin. And we see the blast, like the air, the pressure. Here I come. Sasaki Kojiro finally begins the fight. Like, this video is half an hour in, and we haven't even started the goddamn fight. My God. Slice, Poseidon dodged. So basically his sword weight is 1.5 times greater than the average katana. In accordance with the laws of inertia, halting its acceleration is said to be nigh impossible when full force swinging. Yet, somehow, he managed. The experience Kojiro had accumulated gave birth to his ultimate technique. We see his muscles contract. This technique, capable of catching or swallowing with turning speeds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour, a swift strike, Tsame Garashi, which I believe is the name of a technique that already exists in history. Is this his technique or something? Because I've seen this in Prince of Tennis as a counter. I've seen this in other animes and stuff. So this must actually be a sword technique by Sasaki Kojiro, or Kojiro Sasaki, in real life. Is this the name of his technique? Is this his signature technique? Because I've seen this before. Either way, Poseidon still managed to dodge it, but he got some haircut. 200 kilometers an hour. I mean, we just saw Adam and Zeus go at, like, no time. Like, 0.00001 seconds, and then stop time, and their fists were still flying. So, 200 kilometers an hour is not that fast. If Poseidon couldn't... The fact that Poseidon got his hair cut kind of feels like a bitch, dude. A little bit. So, he's looking a human in the eye. And he's like, okay. So, Poseidon pissed, looking, he's got bangs, just like every character I freaking hate. Bang characters are terrible. Even, like, Robin, I mean, could you just grow out your bangs, Robin? Why do they have to be cut? Like, I know there's so many Robin fanboys in One Piece and stuff, but, man, the cut bangs look awful. So, either way, then we have Miyamoto basically thinking about his fight against Sasaki in their youth and how they fought, and even if it was dodged, they kept retracing their steps. He used that technique to put the first scar on Miyamoto. Don't go look down on the one that holds is unmatched under the heavens. His Voland is, of course, the sister that we already saw, the one that has the split personality. And this sword is truly one befitting of my taste. And we have them continuing their fight. Basically, like, Poseidon is not giving any inches. He's just brandishing everything he can. All the information allowed him to formulate an image of Poseidon in his head. He's faced, so in Sasaki's mind, because he's faced so many people constantly in his mind, that's his thing, he has faced the image of Poseidon fighting, and every single possible move Poseidon can make, he's basically pulled a Kisuke Urahara, and he has recognized every single possibility Poseidon can do, simulating all the thousands of attack patterns he could possess. And then Kojiro is the ultimate scanner. In fact, no matter the number of attacks or the speed of each, he will be able to dodge it just in the nick of time. He has the ability to read this. It's called the 1,000 image defense. He's able to read every single move. However, what ends up happening here is, like, we see everyone being excited by this. And then we see Poseidon whistling. His next move is this. Boom! He changes it. And Sasaki says he's moving faster than I can read. And he has to block, but he still takes some damage from the trident. And Poseidon's just like mocking him. And that moment was the first that the gods had uttered those words to a man. I thought you were capable of reading my moves, you insignificant piece of shit. And then we see this ugly face of this man. Don't you just want to break him once again? I said I wouldn't do it. I said I wouldn't do it. But Kojiro Sasaki drew his blade. I'm drawing mine. I'm going to cut more than that guy's bangs, for God's sake. Man, I hate that guy. Man, do I hate that guy. Like, man. Poseidon is everything I hate about a millennial. He's everything I hate about a punk rocker. He's everything I hate about an entitled rich boy. He is literally everything I just hate in general about people. He is the epitome. Even though they're looking down on humanity, he is the epitome of the worst type of human. Oh. Can't take it. Can't stand it. Just really can't. What do we got on here? So, the rest of the chapter goes on. Basically, Sasaki cannot read his moves for the most part, right? And we've seen this. So we're on to the secret technique chapter. Yeah, I'm spending way too much time on this. So Sasaki realizes that this is a god, and we see like him kind of trying to acknowledge, but not really. The fight basically goes on. The true depths of the ocean god remain a mystery even to his own kind. We see some beautiful artwork. Once again, I haven't stopped because I've been talking about way too many other things, but the artwork, once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not read Valkyrie, if you do not read Record of Ragnarok, read it for the artwork. Not every panel is perfect. I could see panels that I'm like, really? Couldn't make them look better? But when it's good, it's great. It's some meta level 10 out of 10 shit. I'm just saying. So, either way, Sasaki continues. 1,000 image defense. Surpassed the limits of humanity. Stepped into the realm of the gods. But Poseidon does not care. Unfortunately for him, his opponent was Poseidon, and it did not matter. He read his reaction. No matter how hard he tries, he's too fast. He's in the deep ocean. Even if he tries to preserve, it will not matter. But then he's like, I can reach him. He switched his grip, Genryu style tiger claw. It didn't matter. His sword got cut. Don't get cocky, small fry. And the sword was broken. It's decided. It's over. He lost. That's pretty much it. So, what truly happened between Miyamoto and Kojiro? And we see their backstory. And you people should all read it, because it's incredible. Now I'm okay. There we go. So they fought and fought and fought until basically Sasaki ended up dying to Miyamoto. But he holds up the broken sword. Says, "Mighty God of the seas, do you mind if I ask you something? Have you ever lost yourself and found yourself once the sun rose? Have you ever cried tears of gratitude?" And he just looks on. "Have you ever felt love towards your opponent in a fight to the death?" Like Miyamoto and Sasaki, they respected each other to a level that could only be considered as comrades, as brothers in arms. They respected each other so much, it might as well have been love. And he's like, "Never mind, my bad. You've never felt any of that, huh?" He gives the biggest shit-eating grin I've ever seen in my life. It's the best drawn shit-eating grin in all of anime manga. And he's just like, he picks up the sword, the both halves. And he's like, "This sword is our history, the hearts of everyone." And then he's like, "I'm not done yet. I'm not done." And Miyamoto's like, "Sasaki!" And boom, Valand. You thought he had Valand, now he has the Resurrection, Part 4. Like, you thought the part was done. You have Godfather, Godfather 2, Godfather 3, Godfather 4, the Resurrection. You have Alien, Alien 2, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection. You have Back to the Future, Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3. You have Back to the Future 4, the Resurrection. Here we have... And yeah, those titles don't exist. Well, Alien Resurrection actually does. But Star Wars Resurrection, Lord of the Rings Resurrection, Ad Resurrection, Halloween Resurrection. That's actually a thing. We have Resurrection Voland. And Sasaki Kojiro, wielder of Nito Ganryu style. The two-handed dual-wield style. Long sword, short sword. Not dual sword. Long sword, short sword style. Nito Genryu style. Man, I love this panel. God damn it. I love this shit. Man, how do you guys... Who does not read this? Who? Who reads anything that we read? How do you read anime and manga? How do you read any manga and not read this? How do you read this? Like, oh, man. So goddamn good. Here I come is what he says. We're on to the next chapter. Shit, it's so cool. He's got both personalities of the Voland. We see some crazy artwork from Brunhild. And then we see Poseidon. And then they're going on. So he's like, Miyamoto says, "Even in death, Kojiro continued his battle with me. Thousands, tens of thousands of times, fighting to the death to his heart's content. He literally has copied every single master he's ever fought. He has copied and perfected their style and surpassed it at this point. Cheap imitation, as his son said, he's like, it's more than that. The Kadachi wielding of Toda, the flowing footwork of Yagyu, the brute strength of Ito, the smooth combinations of the Sword Saint. He's combined all these styles. He hasn't just mastered one single style or mastered 3 or 4 styles. He's actually incorporated them into flawless movement to perfect a brand new style, a style that utilizes the strengths with none of the weaknesses. It is the epitome of sword styles. And my dual wield. That's no imitation. We truly have melded into his soul, a gathering of various swordsmen. Through years of cultivation, his Genryu has finally touched the heavens. What it means to be unparalleled under the heavens. This is the true strength behind Sasaki Kojiro's Nito Genryu. And Poseidon is covered in wounds. And everyone's like, wait, what? So they're like, the God Slayer. Is this finally the God Slayer, the one who will actually win? Poseidon actually, he's just like, all right. And then he becomes one of those, what do you call those characters? He's like, licks his own blood, like, give me more pain. He's like a sadist, a masochist. I'm confused about the terms because I don't delve into that shit, but yeah, he's a bit of a masochist or a sadist. I don't know. He's just like, he slicks his hair back like he thinks he's cool, and he's like, hey, pretty lady, how about you and me? You know, like some Joker level shit, but worse. So Yeah, Poseidon went nuts. And it seems to be a fight against Kojiro, that even with this dual sword, even with this, the Thousand Eye defense, it's no good. He can't react in time to the 40-day flood attack, which just seems to be a bombardment of these attacks. It engulfs in a water-type blast. It just seems like he can't keep up. It's like a tidal pool. It's like an endless depth, like the Marianas Trench. No matter what, losing has always been his thing after all. And he's in the depths of despair, but then all the people he's fought are just like Kojiro, 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 and they all like draw him out of it. And then we see all the crowd, all the people that are like, hang in there, hang in there. And he's like, show them all our hard work as warriors. Every single swordsman, every samurai in history is cheering his name. And he's just like, I guess those idiots are the same as ever. And he clutches both the sword. My path has always started with a loss. All that has ever happened. Sasaki Kojiro was only just getting started. Each flash of pain that fired in his brain, and every drop of blood that dripped from his body, only ever served to make Kojiro even stronger. And he clashes once again with Poseidon. And he says, finally, the words. If you've read this chapter, I'm trying to skim, guys, because we're like 45 minutes in here, but he wants to win. He finally has a reason to win. He can't surrender and walk away and come back tomorrow. This time, he can't walk away from this fight. He has to win this fight. Way different. Even at the cost of his own life was not as important as this fight. He's like, I want to win. And this was the moment that the edge of humanity's blade finally touched the bottom of the abyss. And boom, scanned deeper. The vibration in the air. The slightest trembles. He scanned all of creation at once. And the only depressing thing about this whole chapter is we will never see Kojiro again. My God. I hope the series continues past the 13 fights, because we're never going to see him again if that's the case. Everything the world had ever given him was put on display. He would steal the techniques of the gods, unparalleled in all of existence. He dodges the trident multiple times. How many thousands of steps ahead is he reading? And he walks right up to him and says, hey there, god of the seas. And he says, thank you to everyone. Nitan, Genryu style. Swallow Tiger combo 1,000 blades. Cuts his goddamn arm off with the trident and cuts the trident in two. Let me get my blade once again, ladies and gentlemen, because that goddamn, I haven't hated a character in this series more than I have hated goddamn Poseidon. And Sasaki might be my favorite character next to Adam in this entire series. And god damn it, he just cut his goddamn arm right off. Poseidon catches it, pretending it's nothing, goes for the kill, but he's forgetting this is Nitoryu. This is two-hand style. This is two blades, bitch. Cuts off the arm that caught the arm. Both arms gone. He thinks he's Zoro. Poseidon believes he's Zoro. Thinks he's Zoro. Catches a broken trident in his mouth. Tries to attack him. And Sasaki's like, done like dinner. Calls him a piece of shit. Wins. The whole crowd is just like, we won. And Sasaki has a tear in his eye and says, I guess winning for once feels pretty good. And where did this dude win? Lost his entire life. And beats a goddamn god. And the winner of the third bout is humanity's Sasaki Kojiro. 13 minutes, 7 seconds. So, that is pretty much, I won't continue with the next part because I don't think I'm going to be doing a part 4, ladies and gentlemen. This has gone on for almost 50 minutes now. I'm not going to be doing a part 4 because right now we are into the part 4. For those of you who don't know, I won't spoil it, but I plan to be doing behind the bar reviews of the latest chapter. Not the chapter that just came out, but the chapter, it should be about a week from now, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. We will get the next chapter following the 4th bout. We're in the midst, we're in the center of the 4th battle. So this was a 3-part series just to get me caught up so I could start doing behind the bar reviews. I just wanted you guys to see my reaction, see my thoughts. Turned into more of a read-through than a discussion or a review. But I will be reviewing it chapter by chapter, behind the bar, downstairs, as always. It'll be really exciting to start that. If you guys want to hear my thoughts on the 4th bout, maybe I can set up a live stream or something, but this was only meant to be a 3-part video series. And I'm finally glad I recorded this. This series did not turn out nearly as polished or nearly as great as I wanted, but I'm glad you guys seem to enjoy it. It didn't get a whole lot of views, but it got more than some other type of videos I try to start up. So I appreciate that. Let's try to get this series, all in all, 300 views total. Between all 3 videos, I want to see 100 views per video. If I could see that, guys, I don't care about likes and stuff. If I could just see that, that would motivate me to do more of these things. When I see people asking me in my Discord and my content and stuff like that to ask me to do things like for Attack on Titan, or I see a lot of people asking me for other things. Attack on Titan seems to be a big one for some reason. But if I see that kind of stuff, if I see an ask, like a want, a need for that type of content, I need the feedback as well. When I make these type of videos, I kind of want and need, that response. I need that view count to motivate me to do better, even make you an even better video for that type of content next time. So, as always, please critique these videos. Tell me what I did right and wrong and what you would like to see in the future for me doing these videos. Should I be doing more live streams in this type of format? Or should I continue making discussions like this? Or, well, this wasn't really a discussion, more of a read-through. Do you guys want me to do character discussion? Anything. Just always give me your input. So, clearly my throat, I'm losing my voice here. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Griever, with your 3rd and final part of the Record of Ragnarok, also known as Shuumatsu no Valkyrie, discussion of the 3rd bout, Poseidon versus Sasaki. Kojiro takes that goddamn win. Let me draw my blade for it. Yeah, no, I love this battle because Poseidon is literally the only god I have actually hated with a passion. He is my most hated character in this whole series. Sasaki, one of my favorite, so I am glad to see this as a big, big win. The next bout is very controversial. The most controversial fight for me personally, because I love both combatants. I don't know who I want to win. It's tough, but yeah. Either way, if I keep talking, I'm never gonna end this video, and I might end up spoiling something for the 4th bout for those of you who haven't seen it. And if you guys haven't read this, go read it, man. Just go read it. This shit is great. Either way, this has been Griever. Like, comment, subscribe as always. Is always very much appreciated. Don't forget to hit the bell notification. You guys want to know every single time I drop a video. And don't forget to join the Discord. The link will be in the description box down below. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. This has been Griever. Drink responsibly as always. See you back here next time.